All right then. So first, what we have to do is we have to set up our environment, and as the same way we have to create ourselves the Git configurations. So we need to set up all the Git because basically we use the Git to store our code in online and to deploy that code in any online service, right? So I will help you to set up your environment. So let's start with installing the Visual Studio Code. So all you have to do, so that is the multi-purpose code editor, which is lightweight and really comes handy when you're developing the programs, any kind of programs. So sorry, when you're developing the softwares or web applications or mobile applications using any kind of frameworks. So in this case, I'm going to use the Visual Studio Code. So feel free to use any other code editor as you wish. So let's go ahead and install the Visual Studio Code. So click the very first link. So you can see the Visual Studio Code, and they given a lot of explanation about their software. So in this case, all I have to do is to download and install the latest versions according to your platform, Windows or Linux or Mac. That's up to you. In this case, I already installed it. So once you're done installing it, so you have to open up your terminal. Where it is, I need to bring my terminal. So let me bring that terminal over here. Okay. So let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see it clearly, right? So I need to make sure that Visual Studio Code is successfully installed in my machine. So in order to do that, all you have to do is to run a specific command to make sure that it's installed perfectly. So let's say I want to make sure that Visual Studio Code is installed. So all I have to say is code space hyphen hyphen version. So that is going to return the version number of the Visual Studio Code in my Mac machine, right? So once you got that, which means it's working perfectly as it's supposed to be, right? So next, all I have to do is I have to go ahead and create myself a GitHub account all by myself, right? All you have to do is to follow up the details, the fields, what are the informations they are asking, provide your email address and verify your email address, and create yourself a student and a free account. So once you have successfully created, all the verifications is done, so you can see this dashboard something like this. This is how it looks. And initially you don't have any repository. All you have to do is to create yourself a new repository. So basically it's kind of like a project which helps you to deploy your code from your local machine to the online portal, right? So once you've done this, right? Once you've done this, now we need to have an intermediator to connect this GitHub and our local storage. So Visual Studio Code has the GitHub pilot. So we can use that GitHub extensions to connect with our own GitHub repository. So in order to do that, you have to make sure to download this Git. So search for Git download. So download this, and you can download for different platforms. So please go ahead and download the latest version. Once you have successfully downloaded it, make sure that it's installed successfully. So all you have to do is the same thing. So open up your terminal. Once it is being installed, you have to make sure that it's up and running perfectly. Git hyphen hyphen version, right? If it is connected and everything is fine, so you will get the version number over here, right? So right after this particular process is completed, all you have to do is to open up your browser and search for git username and email configuration config command. So all you have to do is to search for git username, email, and config command. So once you have successfully configured, once you have successfully installed your Git in your local machine, you need to configure your username of your GitHub username and your GitHub email globally, so that you can pull or push from any kind of terminal or any kind of softwares or code editors you are using to work with the GitHub, right? So this is for one-time configurations. For the very first time when you're installing Git, you have to configure your global username and you have to configure your global email address, your GitHub username and GitHub email address, right? This is the command git config hyphen hyphen global username, GitHub username. It should be inside the double quotes, and git config global user email, and you should configure your email address inside the double quotes, right? This step needs to be done. You should do it. then only it will allows you to push or pull any kind of code to your GitHub repository or from the GitHub repository when you're working with the GitHub. So once this is done, we are pretty much done. So now let me open up the Visual Studio Code. So we have successfully downloaded it, right? So we downloaded it. I have to open that Visual Studio Code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the terminal. Let me bring the terminal. On the desktop, I'm going to create myself a folder. So let's say clear, make directory, and I'm going to name that directory as CSS Foundation. Right now, I just need to move inside the CSS Foundation. So let's say CSS CD space CSS Foundation. So that will take me into that folder. So over here, I just need to open this particular folder in the Visual Studio Code. I just need to say code space dot, which means I need to open the Visual Studio Code in the current directory. So this is how you can open the Visual Studio Code directly through the command, or we can directly open the Visual Studio Code. Then you can get into the file, open folder, and you can select the folder which you have created, right? So once this is we are pretty much done. So once this is done, all you have to do is to change the look and feel of your environments. I strongly prefer to work with the dark mode because that doesn't gives me the eye irritations, or because when you're coding you should sit like 6 to 8 hours per day, so you should not feel the eye irritations or you should not feel any uncomfortness when you're coding it. So I strongly recommend to use, I don't recommend, but I prefer to use the dark mode, right? So in this case, let's go ahead with the extensions, and all you have to do is to, okay, so for me few plugins are asking me to restart, so let me restart it for one time. Okay, so now it is being loaded up. Okay, so now all the plugins which I have already installed, it is successfully fine, running fine. So in this case, first of all you have to do is to click this settings, and all you have to do is to get into the theme sections, and you can see the color theme and you can see the file icon theme. So click the color theme and you can choose, there are a list of themes which is available, or you can even browse your own additional themes also. So you can go ahead and choose your convenient theme. Once you have done with that, next what you need to do, you need to select the themes, you need to choose the file icon theme, just exactly the same way you can see the default file icon themes, or you can install additional file icon themes. I strongly recommend to you install the material icon theme because that gives you the icons of the specific files, so you can understand what kind of file it is instantly once you saw that, right? So install these two things, then we need to install a certain plugins. So first you need to install this live server, because we need a live server to check our local coding, make sure it's working fine. So we need a local server to check that. We need a local development server, so this gives you that local development server. So you need to install this one, live server. Once you're done with that, you need to install this Google Fonts, this one, the very first one, Google Fonts. So this helps us to work with the different fonts. When you wish to create a website with the different font styles, we need to download and install the fonts. Instead of using that, we can use this extension. This gives us the way to link that font directly into our CSS or into our HTML file. So go ahead and install this. Okay, in this case I do already have it, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so I think I need to bring this panel. Wait a second, I don't know why it is looking. Okay, right, so now after this you have to go ahead and click the extensions one more time. You need to download this Prettier. So the Prettier, the code formatter. So this helps us to align our code in a proper way, because when you're developing, we do align the code properly. right? But at sometimes, if there is someone to align our code and format our code, that would be really helpful, right? So every time when I save a file, I need to align the code properly. So I use this extension in order to align and format the code instead of aligning it manually, right? So once you install this plugin, all you have to do is to press Control Shift P or Command Shift P, right? So once you did that, here I just need to say format document. You can see format document. So once you click that, it will, for the very first time, it will ask you to choose what kind of configurations you are going to use, the prettier or you are going to use the default Visual Studio Code formatter. So choose the prettier. So every time when you're working with a different file, you have to do this. So that file configuration will be saved, and you can whenever you're saving in the document, it will auto format it. So in order to auto format it, all you have to do is to click the settings and search for format on save. Enable this option. So if you enable this, so every time when you save a document, it will format your code every time whenever you are formatting your document, right? So these are all the plugins that we are going to use in this section, right? So this is the pretty much environment setup that we are going to use, right? So all you have to do is to verify the GitHub account, install the Git, and you have to configure your username and email globally. Once you're pretty much done, it's going to help you to connect the Visual Studio Code and the GitHub. So before doing that, you have to sign in with your GitHub, right? So currently it is signed in with my GitHub. So for you, it shows you sign in with GitHub. You just have to click sign in with GitHub, and you have to authorize your GitHub profile to connect with your Visual Studio Code. Then you are connected with your Visual Studio Code and your GitHub environment. So I can access the GitHub repositories, everything through the Visual Studio Code, right? So this is it. We are pretty much done with everything. So let's move on to the next section.